Hello everybody, hope you're doing fantastically well. It is Conor here, hope you're having a great day, and we have the Hull City build-up, we have the watch-along, and we of course have the instant match reaction today after the game, so make sure you stay tuned on the In Full Swing show. Now this is going to be a little bit of a different one. I'm a little bit annoyed. I'm sick of Sky Sports pundits, whoever pundits may be, TalkSport, you've got the likes of Jamie O'Hara, Graham Souness, you've got the likes of Nigel Reo-Coker who I'm hearing, and I'm just absolutely sick to the back teeth of no research being done, no statistical analysis on any of Leeds United's previous games going, in last season or the season before under Marcelo Bielsa, and no just general understanding of how we play football. Now, the reason I'm making this video is because I'm sat here on a morning, I'm listening to Nigel Reo-Coker talking on a pundit show on Sky Sports about Leeds United adapting to the Premier League, not being able to do this for the full season. Can we deal with the intensity? What's going to happen when they come up against a Leicester or a Wolves? These are the same people who said last season that Sheffield United were going to finish rock bottom. They have no understanding of football. Just because you're an ex-footballer doesn't mean that you can go broadcast and not do any research. Graham Souness openly essentially admitted at the weekend that he'd not watched any Leeds games and he was massively surprised. Now, how can you go on a broadcasting network to millions and turn around and say you're surprised by how we play, you're surprised by the intensity, you're surprised by how we adapt to the Premier League? Leeds going to upset a few people this year. Now, if you did what Gary Neville had done, and it pains me to say this about an ex-Manchester United player, but Neville was talking on a rhetoric of how well Leeds had done last year, how Bielsa plays, the development, how he sets up, how they're going to cause problems. People like Jamie O'Hara, Nigel Reo-Coker and Graham Souness, as much as Souness said he enjoyed watching Leeds play, it really does irritate me. I've just heard Nigel Reo-Coker there talking about how our Leeds going to be able to cope with it. Our Leeds going to be able to deal with the intensity. Nigel, if you did your research, you'd know that the Championship is a much longer period than the Premier League. Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, Tuesday, Sunday, Wednesday. So that's a consistent theme, week in, week out, including cup competitions. A hugely intense team. And I find it a complete disrespect to Marcelo Bielsa, his backroom staff, Leeds fans, and Leeds United as a whole, for you to come on and say, how are we going to deal with it? It's not okay. Listen, I'm not coming on here and saying, oh, look at Leeds, all this sort of stuff. I'm not doing that. But at least do your research. Go away. Look at what we've done last year. Look at what we've done the year before. Look how we've built. Look how our foundations are growing and growing and growing. And give a little bit of respect on our name for that Liverpool game. For goodness sake, all I'm hearing is, can they do that? They're naive. They're open. They're defensively poor. No, our centre-backs met 3 days before the game started. Our captain was taken out 20 minutes beforehand. No pundit is talking about this. No pundit is giving Leeds United credit for the fact that our captain was taken out the firing line with about 20-25 minutes to go from the fans' perspective of the starting lineup at the weekend against Liverpool. Now, if Jordan Henderson was taken out of Liverpool's lineup, would you have seen a different Liverpool at the weekend? Yes, considerably. Liam Cooper for us is a massive mainstay at the back. He improved Ben White last season. Ben White improved Leeds' defence, but Liam Cooper is the communicator. He's the captain. He's the leader. And just this whole nonsense of Leeds being so open, we're so naive. The centre-backs, Struijk and Robin at the weekend, they're not played together before. And it's just one of these things where it's a constant rhetoric of, oh, it's too intense for Leeds. They don't do this week in, week out. Can they keep this up week in, week out? We've seen it for 2 years now that we do keep this up week in, week out. We are an intense team. We press. We're pragmatic. We're dynamic. That's every single game. How do you beat Leeds United? You sit in. You frustrate us. But that intensity never quells. It never quashes. We do this week in, week out. Sky Sports pundits, TalkSport pundits, please go and do your research on Leeds United, on Marcelo Bielsa, the teams that he's had in the past, whether or not that be Atletico Bilbao, whether or not that be Chile, Argentina, whoever you want to pick. He's got a plethora of different clubs. But please go do your research before you come on and just essentially just pick rubbish things out to say, are they the next Norwich? They look like the next Norwich. Norwich did this at the start of the season. It's just such a dead comparison to make. We are not like Norwich. That's no disrespect to Norwich, because I think they came into the Premier League last year and in their own way had a breath of fresh air, but we're nowhere near Norwich. I personally think we have a better calibre of player. We're more dynamic. We have more identity. We have We are a club with a brand, an identity that's coming into the Premier League after 16 years, and we know exactly what we're doing. We know exactly the player that we're going to bring in. The recruitment is of high calibre. We have a lot of money to spend. We know exactly what we're doing, and we have one of the best coaches, if not the best coach in the world. So this is just a little snippet because I'm just sick and tired of hearing it. You know, Leeds are naive. If they're that open against Liverpool, how are they going to be against Leicester? How are they going to be against Wolves? We might lose to Leicester and Wolves. We might do. But to base Leeds United on one game against the champions, arguably the best team in the world, and a team who's not lost in nearly 4 years at Anfield, and we're still getting slagged off by people in the media saying we're too open. This is a team who average about 3 or 4 goals a game, Liverpool. Look at the amount of goals they scored last year. They won the league by 18 points, for goodness sake. They're an absolutely world-class team, an unbelievable team. And just the disrespect put on Leeds because we're open. We weren't open at the weekend. We were going gung-ho. We were going for Liverpool. We wanted to beat Liverpool. We didn't go to Liverpool like every other team and sit back. Are we going to? Is that going to be comparable to every other team we play? Liverpool? No, it's not. It's not going to be on the same trajectory. It's not going to be on the same trajectory because we're not going to face, with all respect, opponents that good going forward. You look how clinical we were. We were so clinical at the weekend. Yeah, we were open at the back. Were we unlucky for a penalty? 100%, if you look at the rules. Massively unlucky for a penalty. Obviously gave away a second penalty, which was daft. But all Leeds' 3 goals were brilliant. All absolutely brilliant. But that's not being talked about. It's how open we are, how naive we are, and if we can keep this up for a 38-game season. A 38-game season which will have a reduction of games played from this season to last season for Leeds for about 10 or 12 games. So just please do a little bit of research, do a little bit of knowledge building as well before you go on your talk shows, before you go on broadcasting networks and giving your opinion, because it's a complete disrespect for me. It really is. You know, could this happen to Leeds against Leicester? Could Leicester batter Leeds? Of course they could. They're a brilliant team. Could Wolves batter Leeds? Of course they could. They're a brilliant team. Could Sheffield United batter Leeds? Of course they could. They're a very good team. They're a brilliant team, I think. You know, in how they play, Chris Wilder's philosophy. But for goodness sake, when you're turning round and saying Leeds are naive, we're open, this is going to happen every single week for Leeds. We don't ship goals. We kept 23 clean sheets last year. Don't get me wrong, the outlier is Ben White is not at Leeds anymore. But we have a German international, a German superb international who is being made Joachim Löw's centre-back alongside Ginter, Matthias Ginter, coming into the future for the German national side. This kid is an extremely good player. What was the big missing link at the weekend? The fact that our captain, our leader, our communicator was taken out of the back line. Sorry guys, I just had to get this out. It was just doing my absolute head in. I hope you all have a fantastic day. Join me for Hull later on, and I'll see you in a bit.